Have you ever heard the one about the Disneyland twins? It is a story that's been whispered around campfires and shared in the darkest corners of the internet for decades. It's one of those tales that just won't go away, a chilling urban legend that sticks in your mind long after you've heard it. The story says that two young twins, visiting the happiest place on earth, simply vanished. One moment they were there, holding their parents' hands, the next they were gone. The legend gets even darker. It claims that for years, no one knew what happened. The family was devastated, the park was baffled, and the mystery grew. Were they taken? Did they get lost? The theories were endless, but none led to the truth. Then years later, during a routine maintenance check or a park renovation, the details changed depending on who is telling the story. A horrifying discovery was made. Hidden away in a restricted area, a place no guest should ever be, workers stumbled upon two small skeletons. The remains, they say, were identified as the long-lost twins. It's a truly terrifying thought, isn't it? The idea that something so awful could happen in a place designed for joy and magic. But here's the big question we need to ask. Is this story true, or is it just a story? Let's dive deep into the origins of this legend and try to separate fact from fiction. To understand this story, we have to go back to a time before the internet made fact-checking so easy. Urban legends like this often start with a tiny kernel of truth, a real event that gets twisted and exaggerated over time. Disneyland, being such a famous and beloved place, is a natural breeding ground for these kinds of myths. Think about it. It's a massive park with hidden tunnels, restricted areas, and a constant flow of millions of people. It's the perfect setting for a spooky story. The Disneyland twins legend likely began circulating in the early days of online forums and email chains. Back then, stories could spread like wildfire without any real verification. Someone would hear a rumor, add their own dramatic flair, and pass it on. Over time, the story solidified. The details became more specific. Some versions say the twins were found in the walls of the haunted mansion. Others say it was inside the It's a Small World ride. The location changes, but the core of the story, the missing twins and the skeletal remains, stays the same. So let's get to the evidence. Has there ever been a documented case of twins disappearing from Disneyland, only to be found years later as skeletons within the park? The short answer is no. There is absolutely no official record, no police report, no news article from any credible source that confirms this story. Disneyland and the Anaheim Police Department have never reported such an incident. If two children had vanished from the park under such mysterious circumstances, it would have been a massive international news story. The media frenzy would have been unavoidable, and it would be a well-documented tragedy, not a whispered rumor. So where did the idea come from? Well, there have been real, though thankfully rare, incidents of children getting temporarily separated from their parents at Disneyland. It's a huge place, and it's easy for a child to get lost in the crowd for a few minutes. These brief moments of panic are real and scary for the families involved. It is possible that a story of a child being lost for a few hours was retold and exaggerated until it became a story of a permanent disappearance. Another possible source is the very real, but unrelated, tragedies that have occurred at theme parks. Over the decades, there have been accidents and even deaths at Disney parks, though they are extremely rare considering the billions of visitors. These real events, however tragic, can sometimes get mixed up and combined with fictional elements to create a more sensational legend. For example, a story about a maintenance worker's accident might get morphed into a story about a guest's remains being found. There's also the simple power of a good ghost story. The idea of a dark secret hidden beneath the cheerful surface of Disneyland is compelling. The contrast between the happy music and smiling characters and the grim discovery of skeletons is what makes the legend so effective. It plays on our primal fears, the fear of losing a child, the fear of the unknown, and the idea that even the safest seeming places can hide terrible secrets. Let's look at the specific locations mentioned in the legend. The Haunted Mansion is a common one. It's already themed around ghosts and the supernatural, so it's a natural fit. People are already in a mindset to be scared. A story about real ghosts or real remains found there just adds another layer of thrill. Similarly, It's a Small World is another popular choice. The constant, repetitive music and the creepy animatronic dolls have been described by some as unsettling. Placing the discovery of the twins remains within this ride creates a powerful and disturbing contrast between the cheerful facade and a dark, hidden truth. It's a classic horror trope. We also have to consider the role of cast member lore. Disney employees or cast members have their own culture of stories and rumors. A new employee might be told the twin story as a spooky initiation or a cautionary tale about keeping a close eye on guests. These internal stories can then leak out to the public and become part of the larger mythology surrounding the park. So in the end, what's the verdict? The story of the Disneyland twins is a classic urban legend. It's a masterfully crafted piece of modern folklore, but it is not a true story. There is no evidence to support the claim that two twins vanished and were found as skeletons inside Disneyland. It is a fictional tale that combines common fears with a famous location to create a chilling and memorable narrative. Does that make the story any less scary? For some, maybe. But for others, the power of the legend isn't in its truthfulness, but in the way it makes us feel. It's a reminder that stories have power, and that even the happiest places on earth can inspire our darkest imaginations. The Disneyland twins legend has persisted for so long not because it's true, but because it's a really, really good story. It's a piece of unofficial park history, a phantom tale that haunts the edges of the Magic Kingdom. Next time you're walking down Main Street, U.S.A., and you see a family with twins, maybe you'll think of this story. And maybe, just for a second, you'll feel a little shiver run down your spine. That's the enduring power of an urban legend. It lives on, not in police records or news archives, but in our shared culture of storytelling. It's a ghost that doesn't need a real death to haunt us. Thank you so much for watching. What are some of the craziest theme park urban legends you've ever heard? Let me know down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into a modern myth, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more mysteries. See you next time.